Hey everyone, it's Gary Nicholson here for weatherweb.net. It's the look ahead video today on Friday the 15th of January. Just a quick glance through to see where we're going in the next week to 10 days. Don't forget all your details for the short range this weekend in the latest fast forecast here at weatherweb.net. Here's one of the regular charts that we show you then. It's the day 7 to day 10 means of the 500 millibar flow from the two models, the European and GFS, just to compare how we think we're going into the slightly longer range. This then up to the point of Monday the 25th of January and showing higher than normal heights, so high pressure ridging developing towards the British Isles and towards our south. So looking as though we're heading generally into a milder southwesterly regime. GFS a little bit stronger with that southwesterly flow, I suspect, compared to the European, but there's not too much to choose between them. The pattern there, it's the question about how far north that high will build, which then dictates how much of the country is dry and where any incoming fronts do settle themselves. I'll just run through these charts for you, and these are the GFS ensemble models showing the colours of the 500 millibar heights and the white surface pressure isobars across Europe and the Atlantic. Did you notice this feature? This is the remnants of that hurricane that's been affecting the Azores. That will move its way northwards through this next day or so. Quite a big ridge then being thrown up towards the British Isles ahead of that system, and that's the area of high pressure that's just building to give us our settled weekend. The cold air draining southwards into Central Europe, some cool conditions there, and that general northerly flow is the one giving the very cold conditions to Scandinavia. So just move this forwards in 24-hour steps then and take us through these next few days. The ridge builds in from the Atlantic. The high is with us into Saturday and through into Sunday. Gradually fronts trying to encroach from the west as we head into the start of the new week, but little struggle really with cold air at the surface across the British Isles. So what will happen is that damp air that's getting in from the Atlantic just overriding the cool air at the surface and all becoming rather murky, dull, with some areas of mist and fog quite widespread over the hills and even at low levels as well. So a dull, chilly few days likely into the new week. Slowly, it looks as though that southwesterly pattern is pushing in. It's taking its time to do so, but later on in the week, that looks as though we're generally into a southwesterly flow, but still a rather cloudy affair, just temperatures gradually that bit milder, nearer to the average, if not slightly above average, towards the south and the southwest. By this stage, it looks as though fronts will be tracking towards the northwest of the British Isles, so somewhere in this sort of region. The question mark about how far south and east they do move may just introduce some rain to western areas and perhaps some patchy rain to central parts later on in the week and towards the weekend. We just look at the European ensemble model then for the same times. This is again towards next weekend. That ridge building across Biscay, Spain and Portugal, bringing that southwesterly flow across the British Isles. So again, fronts trying to move in from the northwest, but generally fairly dry conditions towards the south of the country. Just move that through a few days further forward on the European just to see where we're going in the longer range, the start of the following week then. And that ridge of high pressure, higher heights across Western Europe influencing the British Isles, so high pressure likely to be centred towards the south of the country and keeping us in a relatively mild pattern. It could be that we're stuck with rather foggy conditions though beneath that high with quite damp air in existence. Just viewing that from the CFS long range forecast, this from 22nd to 28th of January, and in pretty good agreement that we've got an area of higher heights away towards the south, so high pressure not too far away and relatively dry, benign conditions in place at that time. The question mark then about just how strong that high becomes, whether it moves towards the north or stays towards the south or begins to let any jet stream developments back in from the Atlantic further into February, and we'll keep an eye on that one here at weatherweb.net. So I'll leave you with that for today. Thanks as always for watching these videos here at weatherweb.net, and bye for now.